Hello and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. I am Lord Forwind, here surviving as the Netherlands and Suriname. We are facing a much larger Venezuelan force, but they don't seem to actually be attacking us. The big focus right now is on Eastern Europe, where the Soviets and Germans are currently duking it out to see who will actually win that fight. And so far, it's tough to say who's winning. The Soviets are inflicting more casualties. Oh, cool. Bernhardt gave good advice. Soviets... Well, actually, no. The Soviets are taking more casualties, but it's relatively close. The key point is who is actually controlling the territory, and that is tough to say. I think the Soviets are actually pushing back the Germans at the moment. Mainly because the Germans have moved all their force into the New World and stuff. They're currently fighting over the Caribbean islands and Ethiopia, so I'm hoping Italy is going to run out of troops soon, and then maybe they can be driven back, but with extensive conscription, they're still doing pretty well. Germany's already down to a service by requirement, which is weakening them, but... the question is, can the Soviets survive? And I don't know the answer to that. It's tough to see who's actually winning this battle line. I have no intel on it at all, which unfortunately sucks. I don't think I can send... Yeah, I can't send it... Well, I could theoretically send an attaché. I might want to do that, because that would help the Soviets, whose one weakness is really organization. Maybe. I'm starting to see the Germans push the Soviets back a bit. What are we looking at? 500,000 and almost 500,000. The Soviets can absorb manpower losses much better than Germany can, but still doesn't mean it's going to be good. Oh, there we go. The Venezuelans have decided to try and attack once more. Ideological fanaticism, yep. The war over the Caribbean islands seems to be going in the favor of the Allies. So here's the problem. You're looking at this, right? US is supporting Free France. They're trying to produce and send it, but total equipment delivered is nothing. There we go. US has joined. Okay. Now we'll see how this goes, because I believe China is involved as well. Yes. So it's German Soviet. The US is involved. Call them to arms. There we go. I called in the US. Now the Soviets are outnumbered. And we're in the Japanese-Chinese War. I should probably call in all the allies there. There we go. Even if they can't do anything, at least them having them on the field matters. Come on, stop jumping me back to the other page. Okay. The US being involved in the wars is certainly helping. Let's see if the US can fight Japan. The sheer amount of people joining the war is starting to get a little disgusting here. Okay. Let's see if the game can actually keep up with it all. So the US has joined, and the US has a lot of troops. And more importantly, contributes a large amount of factories to the war. Yeah, the Allies now have more factories, and the casualties are almost similar. $3 million. Wow, Japan and their allies have actually lost more troops than the Germans and their allies. I like how I'm not doing anything. I'm just like a reporter. Okay, over here on this side, we've got the Germans with 500. Oh, sorry, we correct that. 1.3 million casualties, and the Soviets with 600,000 casualties. Yeah, I feel like an announcer because I can't really do anything. Literally, my contribution is fortifying a base, single base here, and holding Suriname. Which eventually we're going to lose the defenses in Etria there, as Mara. Luckily, this is one case where entrenchment seems to actually be working because we're defending a mountain range. To be fair, we've probably inflicted a fair amount of casualties on the Italians now. Yeah, 20,000. And we haven't lost any to Italy. Well, that's a positive multiplier if you look at it. I would say the Soviets are slowly being driven back by the Germans. And they're going to run out of manpower soon if they don't do something. The sheer amount of people they're trying to send up against my poor little Dutch force is getting annoying. We're holding, but very badly. The Allies are completely pathetic when it comes to offense. The question is, yeah, here we go. Here comes the Americans. Here come the Americans. Now, I'm going to hope a good portion of the American troops are headed to help us with Venezuela, but even if they only help in Africa, that would be useful. Okay, so the US are moving troops down here. Communist China non-aggression. Everybody wants non-aggression with the Dutch. Hey, looky here, there's a progress. China has actually pushed the Japanese back a bit. And they're still suffering horribly. At least they're holding out. I wish I could send them arms, couldn't I? Actually, let's check my country, see if I've actually sent any arms to... Who was I sending it to? The British? I don't know if I have enough convoys for it. No, I've actually delivered 4,000 some odd arms, so I should probably send some arms to China. Come on. There we go, game. China. Start Lend-Lease. Oh, once? Let's just send it all. Is there any way to send it all at once? Really? Shift does not work on this. Great. How many do I have of this? 6,000? Ay. Really should have a shift function for this button. send it all at once. It's not going to be great, but every arm for them will help. And let's go send an attaché to the Soviets. So by receiving a attaché, they get 2% more organization and some planning speed. But more importantly, we can figure out what's going on here. One small way you can always help is send attachés. So there we go. Let's get some new guns on the fields, everyone. The Johnson M44. We are, of course, lacking in steel, but the sheer amount of forces the Soviets are trying to fight off, I pity them. Yeah, they are heavily outnumbered. Okay, we cannot revive the buffer state proposal, sadly. However, we can start causing German defectors. Doesn't look like it will ever actually stop, which is crazy. Huh. Depillarization. Dutch society has been divided in various strata called Zulin or pillars? Zulin. As part of the Queen's new mandate, she's aimed to do away with this pillarization that's plagued our country. Those with one religion or ideology or social status may now freely interact with all of those of another. Interesting. Okay. We still only get 8 manpower a day from our legitimacy. Oh, that's not good. Oh, okay, that is good. I was getting worried there. No, the Mexico has joined the Allies. I was worried there for a moment that they had joined on the other side. I was going to go, ooh, that would be bad. Well, that is 32 divisions of the Mexicans that may come to help. Hopefully once the US has subdued the Germans in the Caribbean, they'll launch a naval invasion. Looks like they're already kind of doing so. Port of Spain. Trinidad. The most majority of Venezuela is staring me down, so it's good news. US Navy is controlling Mediterranean. Oh, my army in Etria got wiped out. Darn. Well, they kept the enemy busy for a while. That's all I can say. US's troops are pouring into Africa. Actually, to be fair, the US troops are pouring in everywhere. That's a lot of US troops on the move. And some Mexicans. So in the end, it looks like if the Allies win the war, it will be on the backs of the Americans. And the Soviets are seriously struggling. Also, how am I doing with sending arms to China? Oh, China's making a comeback. Look at this. Did really all they need was my weapons? Huh. No legal transport path. Yeah, I can't actually deploy it to them. Wow, I guess the arrival of British troops in China has turned the fray. Because Japan is looking a little bit beat up, which is good. And is China heading towards a democracy yet? Not quite yet. They're working on it. So in every area except for Europe, the axis is slowly being pushed back. feel kind of like an observer though, because there's almost nothing I can do. Oof. I'm really worried about the Soviets though. That is not looking good for them. They're gonna run out of troops soon. However, they have killed like 1 million Germans. There's the difference. The US has inflicted 400,000 on Japan in casualties, taken 77,000. That's a number that's going to be hard to overcome. Germans have killed 1 million Russians and almost lost 1 million troops. It's not good, but at least it's vaguely even. I think the Soviets have to lose, what, to like right to Moscow before they actually surrender? So until they do that, they've actually gained some land up here in, what is this, Latvia. Who knows, maybe my attaché is helping enough. Yeah, Japan is going to lose China now. Venezuela, on the other hand, has actually lost a province. Nice. Still got a huge army right there, though. Well, landing point has been opened. Port of Spain. Everybody can now start pouring into them. Maybe eventually somebody will retake my island for me. If they can retake that island, the oil production we have goes up considerably. And now Spain has joined the enemy. Of course they have. That's not so good. Oops. Cat on my keyboard. There we go. Hello, cat. There we go. Bring another one of my divisions out. Same there. Gibraltar's fallen, yeah. Gibraltar always falls. The British never actually fortify it, which is a problem. However, that does mean we've just lost all access to the Mediterranean. Cyprus is going to have to stand on their own. Here we go. Germany's now finally starting to really push the Soviets back. Yep, our convoy got raided. But here's the good news. Look at that. Push back. Finally. First the Germans. We're down to 1% contribution, by the way. But that makes sense. We've been pretty well annihilated from the war, so... How is Venezuela? How do they still have troops? So over here in Europe, we've got the Germans with 1.2 million in reserve, and we've got the Soviets with 400,000. Feel like the radio announcer again. But meanwhile, in Africa, the Allies, backed by the United States and a resurgent UK, are slowly starting to push the Italians back into Ethiopia. Here's the big news, though, is how much damage Japan is losing to China. Japan is really in trouble. Still have got a lot of manpower they can use, though. But with China finally rebuilding their economy, it should go significantly in their favor. I'm curious as to see what's happening to all the Japanese islands. I suspect they're being invaded by the US. Yeah. Small scandal for the royal family. More US troops pouring out of North America. They've almost added 50 troops since the beginning of this war. Wow. That is a good amount of troops. Let's get a oil production going in, oh, no, fuel cell. Synthetic refinery in Suriname. Hopefully we can actually build that. Oops, top priority actually, if you would. If we last till May, we'll have enough. Then maybe we'll actually get oil. Well, I think this will be a good stopping point. The Soviets are losing to Germany, but Germany's losing manpower. Italy is getting beaten in Africa, which is what matters. And the Chinese are beating Japan with the help of the British. So, except for the Soviet front, everything seems to be going in favor of the Allies. So, that will be it from me, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye for now.